What's going on, everybody? Dylan here with Espresso Outlet. Today we have another video, another interview that we're going to be conducting. I hope that these interviews are able to give you insight on whether it's just coffee in general, something maybe that you didn't know, or just insight on how mobile operations operate and kind of the difficulties that people go through, the good things that you can pick up on and implement yourself. Like I said, I work with Espresso Outlet. If you're in need of any kind of commercial equipment, make sure to check out Espresso Outlet or reach out to one of us, as we would love to be able to assist you to get the right machines for you and your business. So, joining us today, we have Leroy. So, I'm going to kind of turn it over to him so that way he can kind of just kind of go over the very first thing, and that's just to introduce yourself. And I'll let you take it over from here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Leroy. I got kind of introduced into the coffee community back when I worked at a luxury hotel in Chicago. That's when they kind of introduced me to intricate coffee making for all of our guests. But really, I was plunged into the coffee community, have my own Breville right here, and I love it. And I got that from after working with my best friend Dylan with Brewhead Espresso, doing multiple community events. And now, it's the rest is history. I'm working remotely from home, so I get the opportunity to do something like this, which I'm really grateful for. It's really awesome to be here, and coffee is just an amazing thing. And once you can start tasting the notes of it, then you just plunge yourself into it. It's really really fun.
So you said, just kind of piggybacking off what you said about Trump Hotel, and you were getting into specialty coffee and stuff. What kind of coffee did you guys do at Trump that kind of gave you more of a not only an understanding of specialty coffee, but just wanting to dive deeper into specialty coffee?
So they had luxury cafes there. One was called Rebar. Another one was called their luxury restaurant, the Terrace 16 restaurant. And on each of those, they had these really just these gigantic espresso machines. That was way before I even had any iota that coffee you was real espresso was used by being put under pressure. And I had zero IQ on any of it, but it just blew my mind seeing some of this coffee, because I've always been a coffee guy because I'm always energetic, and you get coffee, I'm bouncing off the walls. But so yeah, I saw that and I was like, wow, this is really kind of interesting. So I started tasting some of it back then when I worked there at the front desk, and it was just mind boggling. After that, if I ever saw somebody in the front desk, I would try to bring some to them, because I mean it tasted so good too. It wasn't acidic. It was like right in the equilibrium. It was so good. But they had Nespresso machines for each of the rooms. That was completely different from what they had in the restaurants, but I would always enjoy using those as well. But that was just kind of like the first moment where I was like, wow, look at these machines. And I had to deal with them every single day. So it was really kind of cool.
So I see in the background there that you have some an intricate machine. It's the Breville dual boiler. What has been the greatest thing about having specialty coffee at your house and really taking a deep dive into specialty coffee? And what would you say is the most challenging thing about making coffee at home now that you have it all set up at your house?
The most challenging thing is getting myself to um, clean my Breville grinder every single time, because I'm liking the coffee beans that have oils on them, because it gives you the specialty flavors. And what's the one right here? I have this one that I really really like. Don't mean to like show off any brands, but Bones, and they have like the special Indiana Jones. Like they have different really cool bags. I like collecting the bags. Maybe that's kind of dumb, but they have really cool pictures on them, and they're limited edition. This one is called Crusader's Cup, which is like scotcheroo flavored coffee. It has oils, so you kind of have to clean your grinders more, and you have to take more caution towards that, because the oil really isn't that great for the grinder. But that's one real problematic factor that I have. But there's just it's because I'm too lazy. But it's really fun to make the coffee every morning. I love this machine. I actually got it from you, from Dylan. And one problem that I have every morning is I forget to put the portafilter in it when I turn it on. So then it's cold and I need it to be hot. So I'm like, come on, Leroy, remember that. But honestly, making each latte and trying to further the extraction's the tough part for me. Having it flow perfectly to where the shot doesn't pull too quickly and it pulls just in the right amount of time. Getting that perfect spec, that's a challenge, but it's fun. But it's a really rewarding thing, you know. I don't know what I would do without it. I love my drip coffee, but if you can get an espresso machine, absolutely get one because it's fun to do every morning and improve on each cup.
So this is kind of veering off the questions that we had, but would you encourage everybody to try even the worst shot? So let's say you get something that's super over extracted, like something's barely coming out and it's been a minute, or vice versa, something that's flowing so fast. Let's say it comes out, your full 1 to 2 ratio is, let's say, 18 to 36 grams in 10 seconds. Do you recommend that everybody still tries this, and why?
I do because I mean I'm not the best barista, if you could call me that at all. But so I've tasted some pretty bad shots before, and taste just the espresso itself because that's how you get the idea of where you're at down the line. You can track your progress up here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have some of the times that I have. I have the time for the shot, the grind size that I have, uh, put those things down and even put them in a journal, write them down. It'll help you and you'll get to be where you're at. But what's weird about coffee is one morning you have this, the next morning it's completely different. So it's never going to be a perfect shot, never going to be a perfect cup. You've always got to keep on messing around with it. That's why they call dialing in a very important process. But yeah, definitely taste that bad shot of espresso so you know where you're at. You know how acidic it is and where you got to go on the next shot. You know, it'll tell you where you're at.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. When I first started out, this was probably 3, 4 years ago, when I started making just coffee at home before I even had my mobile business. I'd make all kinds of shots, whether they were good or bad. Or like you said, you get a brand new or you get a brand new bag of coffee. You don't know, let's say the roast date's 2 weeks or 3 days. Freshly roasted coffee arguably is some of the hardest things to dial in, because day to day it changes so much, because it's releasing the gas from the beans. And the biggest thing is just trying all of your shots, and like you said, kind of having a basis of knowing where you're at and where you need to go. So like if you have a shot that's maybe too bitter, it might mean that it's over extracted, and you can base that off of time too. But a good taste tester, or a good palatable espresso taster, could know just based on the way that the espresso is tasting. If it's too bitter, like I said, it could be over extracted. If it's sour, it could be under extracted, so not too much time with the puck and water. So it's always good to try out your shots to make sure that you're really understanding what's going on in the process, enabling you to dial in a little bit better in the mornings, afternoons, whenever you want to drink your coffee. So I'm going to go through and ask a couple more questions here. So what was your initial perspective working with Brewhead Espresso, and how has that changed after you started doing a couple mobile events?
Well, I ran my own small business online, and that showed me just how much work really goes into that. But when I started doing Brewhead Espresso events, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of work. I was right. It was a lot of work, but the thing about that is it's very rewarding. You see the smiles from people, you put in the work, and you see that happiness that you bring on them for just that quick moment. It's a magical moment, and you keep on going and you keep on bringing it to the next person. And just doing that, so much intrinsic value comes from that, and that's why I enjoy doing those events. Um, I don't think I'm ever going to want to stop because it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I tell everybody that it is super fun to be able to do what you love for a living. Even the time that you can call it free time, and you go out and you serve the community. Just you hit it right on the head. Just being able to serve somebody a good quality cup of coffee, and just watching them drink it, and just see the smiles that are on their face, and it just makes everything so much more worth it. Now I can say that coffee making is super fun, but the behind the scenes is the part that is a lot of work. if you have, let's say, a normal, because a lot of people do farmers markets, right? So let's say the normal times from 8 to 12. What people don't see is the setup time that it takes prior to people coming at 8. The amount of time that it takes to prep for the event. So whether that's a day before the event, going to the grocery store, if you make your own pastries, your syrups, breaking down time. So after 12, when everybody leaves, you have to break it down. You're usually there for about an hour, hour and 10 minutes, depending on how fast you can do, how many people you have to help you. And then also based on that, you still have to go home. You have to do everything you can to make sure if it's cold outside, you have to take everything out that needs to be out so it doesn't freeze. You need to bring it back to where you're putting it. So like we put ours in a pole barn that's like 20 minutes away from our house. So there's quite a bit of work that's involved in doing a pop-up that people don't see. But the time that you are doing it, whether it's the starting up, tearing down, or during the event, it's just all worth it, because in the end result, you get to serve your community and you get to get your name and brand out there and do what you love. So going based off of that, what are some of the challenges you face while doing a mobile coffee business?
Well, you're always on edge. It takes a lot of sacrifice to do it. Like for one instance, there was a time in the event, even you remember this, and we were down south, and there was a one of the ice bins that you had. The wheel came off, and we had to improvise because we had to have that standing up. We really needed that, and there was nothing else to go to. There was no other cooler that they had. It was what we had, and that was it. So we improvised and we put some of your padding down underneath of it, and we just stacked it up, and it worked pretty well. But things like that can happen at any time. When you're, when you have a longer event, you're worried kind of, am I going to run out of gas? Is it going to, I don't know. There's just so many things that are on your mind, and you're focused on serving everyone, but there's so many things behind the scenes, like you said, that you have to worry about as well. And that's just where the sacrifice comes. Rewarding, but there's a lot of things that people don't think about. And it's tough sometimes, but enjoyable.
So another moment that I could think of, that you were tagging along with me, and I think that you would remember it. It was a Saturday morning, and I remember calling you and being like, "Hey, we don't have anything going on. I think it would be a great time to maybe bring the mobile trailer here." And this was when we were just getting started. So this is might have been like your second event. So you did the first event with us. You might have done a second event with us, but the third time, I know you wanted to really get the process down, like where everything goes, how you set up, so that way you could help a little bit more to tear down and stuff like that, without having to watch us or ask us any questions. So I remember waking up that Saturday morning and was like, hey, why don't we come here? We could film some videos. We could do like a little tiny commercial for Brewhead. And then I can show you the ropes and how everything goes. And you're like, yeah, I'd love to. And then all of a sudden I call you like, I don't even know if it was 30 minutes to an hour later. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing right now? You're like, getting ready. I said, oh, well, we have an event if you want to come, and we have to be there in an hour. And you're like, what? And I was like, yeah. Remember that fire station event that we did? The
Yeah, it was just spur of the moment, and that was an interesting time because I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, so it's just a time where being mobile, it is great. You're a convenience to the people at the event, but it could be sometimes an inconvenience to the people who are putting the event together. And so yeah, it was a day where I didn't think we had anything, and an hour later we're set up and serving, and getting everything ready. I had to gas up the generators. I had to go get product. I had to go get the trailer and pull up and set everything up, turn the machines on, all in time for what I think we were there for 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
We weren't even there that long, but yeah, the good part about that is having multiple people so you can spread everything out, get those tasks done, and but yeah, if you can be a spur of the moment kind of the person, you'll pick up more business doing that too, so that you can back up people and communicate with others and be like, if you can't make an event, just let me know. I can be your backup. If I can't, I'll give you a backup. Partnerships are really important in that aspect. Instead of try to be the best person in front of everyone else, reach your hand out and greet somebody else who's in the same business as you, and things like that can happen.
Yeah, so that whole thing was started because a mobile business wasn't able to make it for a certain reason, and I believe they had some breakdown issues on the highway, and they called us, and we were there. So it's a reliability thing. It's like you said, it's a good way to pick up business and to really get your name out there, just to show that you're willing to do anything to help the community and just be able to be reliable to come out and serve coffee. So after working with Brewhead, after having your home set up at home and really taking that deep dive into specialty coffee, and having experienced different regions of coffee, what have you found to enjoy? So, like an example, tasting notes, roast levels, and even like washed and natural processes. What would you say that you've come to enjoy after trying more and more specialty coffee?
Creating different flavors. I've learned that a lot of people I talk to think as soon as it's roasted, it's good to go, and you just want to do it as you want to brew it as quickly as possible. I myself find it harder, more difficult to do that. I'd rather wait about a week to 2 weeks to brew the coffee, brew the beans after they're roasted, because you need some time for them to relax, I guess you could say. But I'm really finding it enjoyable to taste different notes because my taste buds, I guess, because say your taste buds change every so often, every couple of years, and they must be changing for me because I can actually taste notes now. Like before, I never thought that fruity flavors would have been enjoyable in coffee. Well, Synergos is one coffee company that we were trying in Louisville a while back ago, and their fruity
We're gonna
flavors that
touch
they
on that
have
too. We're gonna touch on
is
that
really good.
too. So go ahead and
Yeah,
finish that.
though their fruity flavors have finally blossomed me out into enjoying those kinds of notes too. I'm just the chocolate kind of caramel person, but when you can find different syrups and things like that, I used to use Ghirardelli, and then you introduced me to Tirani and how you can kind of. I'm not the big sugary drink Starbucks kind of guy, but a little bit goes a long way. It gives you a nice little touch up on the thing. So Tirani, Da Vinci, some of those are really nice, especially the sugar-free options. It's really enjoyable to try and create new flavors out of them. Put a little whipped cream on top, and especially for the wife, you kind of create a really nice drink with her, and she loves all the chocolate flavors. So it's fun to create different concoctions for. Makes me feel like I'm a bartender barista or something. It's ridiculous, but
So
it's fun.
so I'm gonna kind of go off topic here a little bit, but on topic of what you just said about Coffee Fest. If somebody is getting into specialty coffee, and I know SCA is the biggest thing for all coffee content creators, people who just enjoy products and stuff like that. But we recently went to Coffee Fest in Louisville, Kentucky, and kind of just share some knowledge either that you learned, things that you thought were interesting, and just overall, what was your experience like at Coffee Fest? And do you recommend other people who are wanting to get into coffee, or if they're already into coffee, to go as well?
I absolutely recommend it. Seeing the the championship latte art competition, that was something I've never experienced in my entire life. That was just fun watching it. They have loud music going, and it's really like head to head. It's a fun experience. If you haven't seen that, that itself is a whole reason to go. Going to Louisville for that coffee fest, and I think they have multiple locations around the country. That just explained to me, like right then and there, that it's important to go whenever you're in different areas. Look up on Google specialty coffee house and just flock to it and try their coffee, because everyone's coffee is going to be different. Their teas are going to be different. I'm a huge hot tea kind of person, and the jasmine kind of things like that is really good. But I used to love going to different hotels. Now I want to do both. I want to go to different coffee shops because it's a different experience at every one. I like to experience what kind of atmosphere they want to give off. But Coffee Fest itself, that's what that taught me. There's so many different people doing different things in the industry, and you'll never know just looking online. So I mean, you go there physically and talk to people, you think you'll get through it as soon as you get there within an hour or not. Well, pretty soon you find yourself understanding that the coffee community is wholeheartedly wholesome and everyone loves to engage in conversation, and one sentence leads to a plethora of conversation. So it's really a fun experience, and then you're like, wow, this is actually an amazing product, and then what push comes to shove, you're buying something, and it's enjoyable. So I mean, I can only imagine what you said the other one is the largest one.
Yep.
When Coffee Fest was so much fun, this is going to be gigantic. So I'm really looking forward to it.
So, you before you went to Coffee Fest, you considered yourself somebody who could withstand a lot of caffeine because you drink a lot of coffee in general. I mean, um, every time I see you, you're drinking some sort of coffee, whether it's drip, espresso, something.
I
Um,
was the kid who had the coffee cup in high school that was like literally a gallon coffee cup. And teachers would look at me like I'm nuts because here I am in morning class, marketing class, drinking out of a gigantic cup of coffee. Ridiculous. And most of the time, though, I was just drinking drip. I mean, I wouldn't go to the store and get lattes. So drip, 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 drop, drip, drop. I mean, it's nonstop.
so,
But
so why don't you enlighten everybody on what happened midway through Coffee Fest and kind of what did you experience after drinking some espresso shots?
well, it has to do with a 5 letter word. Do you know what it might be? It starts with a C.
Uh, no.
Crash.
Oh, I was thinking sleep, but crash, same thing.
Crash. I crashed the hardest I ever have in my life. When you go to Coffee Fest, you go to a coffee oriented kind of event. Don't have 20 some shots of espresso like I had. At every booth you visit, they have espresso machines or, something with sugar, something with. And so here I am trying shot after shot after shot after shot. And I'm like, okay, how many more are we got? It's like the Grinch. If you ever seen how the Grinch stole Christmas, where everyone's shoving food into his face, and they're shoving shots down your face, and it's really really good. But some of them are bitter, some of them are acidic. But you'll find the ones that you like. But I've never had so many shots in my life. I crashed hard, and I could hardly stand on 2 feet after that.
So after that experience, would you recommend Coffee Fest to pretty much anybody into coffee?
Absolutely. It's a fun time. If you don't feel like you're part of the community the way that I did, I didn't know it was such an open arms, friendly community, easy conversation with people. I didn't know it was like that at all. Then you'll feel the way that I did once you go, and you'll just be looking for the next date to go to the next one because it's like everyone's a friend. Everyone welcomes people with open arms. Definitely a good community and enjoyable.
So we'll kind of wrap it up here with this last question before we get going. What advice would you give to someone just entering the world of coffee or looking to turn their passion into a whether it's a brick and mortar or a mobile coffee business? What's the best piece of advice that you could give to somebody out there just about all that information?
About 3 things. One, watch YouTube videos. There's just a library of information on YouTube videos. Your laundry machine breaks down. How am I going to fix that? A YouTube video, and I've already done it. I mean, there's so much to. I mean, what was one of the people that I bought his book that was
James
famous
Hoff.
YouTuber? James Hoffman. I bought his book, and now I have so much insight into brewing my own coffee at home. And the only reason why I bought that book is because I found his YouTube channel from you telling me him and seeing his videos, and they're the most. I mean, not only just learning something, but just watching for fun. It is just the most interesting kind of stuff, and it's really enjoyable. Sometimes I stream that to my TV and just watch it straight off of there. But definitely YouTube, you can learn so much. On top of that, number two, I would say be ready for maybe not back-breaking work, but a lot of work if you're going to try and open up your own business or coffee cart, coffee trailer. Very rewarding, but I don't think anything would be rewarding without a challenge, and it's a lot of work. So make sure that you're up for the challenge and you do that. And number three, I would say be ready to learn different things other than coffee. Be ready to learn how to hook up a trailer. Be ready to look up all about generators. Be ready to, and there's so many different aspects that go into it. And you can't just be so obsessed about coffee and passionate about coffee that that's the only thing you're thinking about. It's got to be the whole big picture, accounting, everything, because it is a business, but it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the one of the biggest things before we go here is like you said, obviously coffee is what drove me to start a mobile coffee business. It's my passion that I had, but I didn't know how to drive a trailer. I knew it wasn't going to be hard, but I didn't know how to drive a trailer. I didn't know how to hook up a trailer. I didn't know anything about wattage for how much wattage you would need for a espresso machine, a grinder. Those are the kind of things that you simply just overlook, and it can be very overwhelming if you just jump right into it. So definitely get a list together, put a plan together. I looked up carts, and carts are really expensive. There's certain coffee cart companies out there that want like 6 to 7 grand for a mobile coffee cart that you can break down. I think it was like Simple Cart Systems or something. But I just knew that starting out, I couldn't really just justify spending 6 to 7 grand on a cart. So I went ahead and a friend of mine and myself built the cart. I think we did it for under $500, $600. And it's just more uniqueness to it. Learning the generators for the trailer, that was not a struggle, but you definitely have to learn about them, changing oil, making sure that everything that you do fits the workflow. So if you're building your own cart, make sure that the way you set it up flows with how you're doing things. And one big thing that we had was that I didn't think about is how big the top part of the cart was. And our second event, because our first event we didn't use our cart, we used a table provided for us while we were finishing the cart. While we got a trailer, we couldn't fit through the door at a certain event, so we had to take the whole top off and pick it up, and it was all plumbed in with the pitcher rinser and the drain tray with the hoses. So we had to pick that up, bring it to the door, tie it back down, take it apart, bring it back. And later that night, we had to cut about 5 inches off. So it's just something that we cut it to the size of a standard door. But the problem with that is things that were made 20 years ago didn't have that certain standard that we have now, and doors were 2, 3 inches smaller. So that's something that we didn't really think about when doing the business. And it's obviously something that you want to look into prior to going into business. So there's a lot of different people out there that are willing to help. Something that Leroy mentioned was how open arms the coffee community truly is. And everyone's out there trying to lend a hand in order to help you. We have Facebook groups, Mobile Coffee Business. We have Coffee Business Owner Group. And all of these people who are in there are very knowledgeable, even more knowledgeable than myself. And they are more than willing to help you if you ever need any kind of assistance. So I just want to thank Leroy for coming in today. I just want to thank everybody who is watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Comment down on the video what your favorite part was. Did you find this video helpful? If you learned something, put down in the comments section what you learned. If you didn't learn anything, tell us you didn't learn anything. But we appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope that you guys all have a great day. Leroy, do you have any other words to finish this interview up?
You said it right at the end. Definitely join a Facebook group or something, a Reddit, anything, so that because it spreads positivity, and you're gonna need that. I mean, you're gonna have some dark days where you're like everything's going wrong, but don't forget the passion. Don't forget the reason why you started it. And after learning so many other new things, so many other things that you have, like you said, the gasoline, the wattage. After learning all of that, it all comes together, and it makes you feel good inside that you learn because learning's fun, and taking on new challenges is fun. Nothing would be worth doing if it wasn't a challenge or it wasn't worth doing. But yeah, definitely join a Facebook group for that positivity and just a simple question so you can ask somebody and get some answers from someone. I mean, that's huge. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Again, this is Leroy joining us today. My name is Dylan with Espresso Outlet, owner of Brewhead Espresso, which is a mobile coffee business. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. And we just truly thank you guys for tuning into the video. And until next time, peace.